Hi Fantasy Managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. So in this video we're going to have a look at some of the most popular transfer players in and out for FPL managers going into game week 14. We'll then have a look at my side and how I'm getting on, and then we're going to finish by looking at a watch list of players I am considering bringing in before the game week 14 deadline. So if you enjoy your FPL videos, hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and in the meantime, let's take a look. Let's have a look at those players that are being brought in by FPL managers for game week 14. One of the most popular choices is Miguel Almiron. He's had a fantastic few weeks, and he's had a fantastic season so far, it has to be said. 370,000 FPL managers have brought him in so far. In 12 games, he's got 6 goals, XGI of 0.44. That's pretty impressive considering his price is only 5.4. Coupled with the fact he's got Villa at home, Southampton away. Both sides have had decent results in the last couple of weeks. Well, it's particularly Villa in their last home game. So interesting to see how we get on against them. But there's no doubt that Newcastle, one of the form sides now in the whole of the Fantasy League, in the Premier League. And 5.4, he does represent really good value. So yeah, I can absolutely see why people are bringing him. Freeing up cash, bit of an enabler, performing well. Newcastle in good form, 2 decent fixtures. Yeah, I can't argue that. I think it's a pretty good decision to make to bring him in. Next on the list, we have then Kevin De Bruyne. 153,000 managers have brought him in so far. Look at those next 3 fixtures before we break up for the World Cup. Leicester away, Fulham at home, Brentford at home. 2 goals, 9 assists. He's basically returned 11 times in 11 games this season so far. It's overperforming in terms of his XGI, but right up there with the very best of all midfielders in FPL. You'd say he's pretty much nailed in the side. You'd expect Haaland to take penalties when he's on the pitch, so he's probably lost those now. But only small criticism I could give. He is very expensive, and he doesn't deal in perhaps as many goals as we'd like. But with those fixtures, who knows? We know what he did last year against Wolves, 4 goals. Could he repeat something as heroic as that in the next 3 games? 153,000 managers will be hoping so. For me, I can absolutely see why he's coming in. For Foden, possibly I'd still be considering him. He seems to have more of a goal threat than KDB, but I don't think it's a bad move. Let's put it that way. Kevin De Bruyne nailed in that City side, and you will want a City midfielder, possibly doubling up on Foden and De Bruyne could be an option. Another player being brought in nearly as much as KDB. 148,000 managers are bringing in Leandro Trossard. You'd have to say 6.8 million. He has played 10 games, 6 goals, 2 assists, massively outperforming his XGI, which isn't that impressive, but any player that gets a hat-trick at Anfield, then goes Etihad and scores a goal, is worthy of mention and possibly bringing into your side. Only thing I would say with this one with Trossard, Chelsea at home in the next fixture, I'm just not sure he's a player I'll be bringing in for that game, but 6.8 million, I can see why people are definitely bringing him in. Let's have a look at some of those players that are being shipped out. One of the most popular players to go, managers clearly getting frustrated with him. Most expensive midfielder in the game, Mo Salah. 11 appearances, he's got 3 goals, 3 assists. His XGI is still pretty good. Not as high as De Bruyne, but you're looking at lots of Saka, much better. It's much better than lots of Foden as well. Leeds at home next. Nearly 250,000 managers getting rid of him. I can understand why, given the frustrating of the last couple of weeks where he's blanked. People would have captained him away at Forest. No goals there. I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced he's a good decision when you've got Leeds at home. Tottenham will be a tricky game, but then Southampton at home before we break up for the World Cup. If I'm holding him now, I think I'm definitely... if I own him, I'm holding him for this week. Absolutely. I'm giving him another week. But with those fixtures of KDB, I can see why people may be going across to KDB and saving yourself money. If you've got to transfer to Burn, I'm not going to say that's a bad thing to do. For me, I still think I'd hold Salah. His underlying stats are good. He's on penalties. Liverpool, despite blanking the last game, still scoring goals. I still like him. I'm considering, if anything, bringing him in as opposed to getting rid of him. Another player that people are getting rid of, well, Trossard is being shipped in by our managers. Pascal Gross is now being shipped out. Chelsea at home, difficult fixture. They got Wolves and Villa, 2 decent ones, but 175,000 managers have got rid of him. Looking at his underlying stats, they haven't changed that much since the new manager's come in. 3 goals, 2 assists, most of those in the start of the season. His XGI is really good, 0.63. Much better than Trossard. And remember, he's a little bit cheaper than Trossard as well. So for me, looking at his amount of shots and key passes that he's getting in the last 3 or 4 games, they're still up there with the figures they had before. The only difference is either his teammates aren't putting the chances away or he's not putting the ball in the back of the net like he was earlier on the season. But he's still clearly getting in those positions and Brighton looking to attack him. Yeah, I can understand if you're moving off to him. Maybe an Almiron as well, absolutely understandable. But his returns are dropped off, and I guess they're in about a line to what he should be expected to get. So maybe he was just overperforming in terms of XG earlier on the season. But Gross getting rid of him, I can understand it. At the same time, possibly I could understand if you wanted to hold on to him as well. Another player then that players are getting rid of, 149,000 people getting rid of Jesus. Wow. I can only imagine the one reason why you'd be getting rid of Jesus on a match week where they've got Forest at home is because he is 1 yellow card away from a suspension. But his XGI still looks brilliant. Yes, he blanked against Southampton, but he had golden opportunities there. He still looks the talisman for Arsenal. He looks like the main man up front. I'll be majorly surprised if he doesn't get some sort of goal involvement at home to Forest. Wolves away looks like a fixture you wouldn't mind targeting. Chelsea will be difficult, but as we've seen, Arsenal can score against anyone. I'm going to be looking to bring him in as opposed to getting rid of him. If I had him, I'll be holding him. If I picks up a yellow card against Forest, then yes, I think I'll be shipping him out because I wouldn't want him for Chelsea anyway. But we know he's going to play against Forest. For me, he has to be a hold for me at the moment. Not quite sure why so many people are getting rid of him. Again, maybe it's the free money to go into midfield. Don't know, but Jesus, of all the attackers I want this week at home to Forest, I want Jesus. I'm thinking bringing him in, not getting rid of him. One player that I did want to have a quick chat about, again, was Wilfried Zaha. 110,000 managed getting rid of him. I know there's a lot of players around his price point that look attractive. There are lots of Maddison, Saka, Martinelli. You've got Foden as well. Then you go to things like Trossard, possibly 7, and in Pereira's getting quite a few goal returns. 0.54, decent XGI, and he mostly deals in goals as well, Zaha, on penalties for Palace. I'm a Zaha owner, hence I want to talk about this. I am in no way, shape or form going to get rid of him when they're playing Southampton at home. West Ham away, still think he could do something there. Forest away, definitely. 2 of those 3 fixtures look pretty decent for Palace. Wilfried Zaha, they may have taken a bit of a pasting against Everton, but I still think Zaha's got a lot to offer. One game doesn't put me off. I think he's good to hold for me. I'm not getting rid of him. Let's have a look then at how I ended game week 13. It looked pretty bad at one time, it has to be said. When Foden didn't start, Trent was benched. I still played him because I didn't really want to double up on that Newcastle defence. Gueye got hammering, so that was no points for him. Mitrovic did return, that was great. And Haaland, yeah, he was a captain. I think along with everyone else who captained him. So he got 26 points. Andreas was a real success for me. And until that Monday night, I was floundering around 1.4 million. In his game week didn't look great. And then Kurt Zuma really popped up with 15 points. That was an absolute godsend. I did say, I think on the review on Monday night or Sunday night before the West Ham game, I said he could get a clean sheet, a goal, 3 bonus points. Could be amazing. More likely, I thought he was going to get sent off, suspended -2. But it went away. I never thought it would. So it creeps me under the million mark. So a really good week, all turned on one player. That's how close FPL is and how much bunched it up. One player, 15 points, moved me up about 400,000 places in the FPL charts. So I'm loitering just below the million mark, which is where I was in game week 9 when I had wildcarded. So hopefully we can push on from there. This is my side as it stands for game week 14. There is a flag on Haaland, so I have to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, my captaincy armband would definitely be on him. Solanke, yes, there's stats about him, but he would be on the bench in any case. Zuma I'm put on the bench as well. Gomez is a real problem for me. When Walker got injured, along with Trent and James, went for Gomez as a replacement for Walker, thinking he would get the minutes, and he just hasn't. Akanji's moved to the right back, so Gomez has now become a real burden. He's taken up a Man City slot. Yes, he's cheap, but he's not playing. And I'm constantly thinking he's not playing in the Champions League because he's suspended, so surely he's going to get minutes in the league. and it just doesn't transpire. So what to do with him is a constant worry, but he is using up a Man City slot that I just want to fulfill. If it's not within a defender, then maybe a midfielder or something. But the rest of the side looks pretty good. A lot of home fixtures, a lot of green fixtures. Guay, Trippier's fixtures look pretty decent, although there's a little bit of a worry that Villa seem to have found some goal-scoring form. Trent, he's at rest, so hopefully he comes in for the Leeds game. Foden, again, taken off early in the Champions League and rested last weekend. Surely he plays. Mount's coming away at Brighton. He's one I could potentially move out for Zuma, but I think I'll prefer Mount nonetheless. The rest of them look good. Saka at home to Forest, and that's probably where I'd like to focus some of my transfers. Only one Arsenal player in there, and Leeds at home for Liverpool, so maybe I could bolster that. In terms of Haaland, we don't know what's happening with him. He had a fever, he took a knock on the foot. We have to wait for press conferences, but I have no intention of selling him. If he does miss out this week, then he just comes in the week after. City have got 2 good fixtures left before the World Cup. I'm not going to burn a transfer, taking him out and bringing him in. I'm going to keep Haaland nonetheless. Whether I start him or not, that's the other question, isn't it? If he doesn't start, in comes maybe Gomez or Zuma, or what are the other players that we're going to transfer in or look at now. So, transfer options, I could just stop messing around with Gomez. I've got 5 million in the bank and just go to Cancelo. 3 great fixtures. We know he's going to play. He came off early in the Champions League, said he had a fever. Again, we need to keep a track on that. If it sounds like he's out, then maybe Sergio Gomez gets a game anyway, so that's good news. If he looks like he's fit, in he comes 7.4. My only worry is it just feels like if I get rid of Gomez to bring Cancelo in, it's going to be the 1 week that Cancelo gets rested and Gomez starts, and that would be really annoying. So that does worry me. That's in the back of my mind. But I don't want to go without a City defender. Fulham and Brentford and Leicester away look like great fixtures. It's strange that Cancelo just overperforming his XGI, which isn't impressive. But if you told me he got 4 returns in the first 11 games, I think I'll be happy. So I could stop messing around, just go Sergio Gomez to Cancelo, fulfill that Man City slot. I have the money to do that, and I still have some money to burn. I'm not going to consider taking a hit. Dalot is another option, so I could instead go from Gomez to Dalot, 4.6. West Ham at home, Villa and Fulham, both away. Dalot seems to have a bit more attacking potential out of all the Man City players, so that's a possibility. It's not my first choice. But yeah, I think that Man United defence looks a bit stronger now. 2 clean sheets in the last 3, as we can see. Attacking returns for Dalot look all right. He's definitely a possibility. And great price as well. 4.6, that looks good. The other one we talked about, people shipping him out. I'm happy. I could definitely go for Salah. So I could move one of my midfield slots to go for Zali. I don't want to lose Foden. I couldn't move up from Pereira. I could move Mount to Salah. That is an option. I think having the Liverpool midfielder with Forest and Wolves away looks a decent shot. So that's definitely something. With people shipping him out, that only encourages me to bring in more because I'm just going to climb the tables more. And I think Salah's still a good option. He is expensive, but I still think he's a good option. And if he scores 2 or 3 against Forest, you can bet your bottom dollar people are going to go back onto him and his price will rise as well. So Salah, definitely an option because I like that Liverpool fixture. Talking of which, I could go Darwin, 8.8, a lot cheaper. So I can move from a Mitrovic or Solanke to Darwin. That's a possibility. I do like him. His XGI just is unbelievable, 1.45. He doesn't get a huge amount of starts, and so we have to take that with a pinch of salt because it's such a small sample size. But if he was anywhere near that and he couldn't keep it up, then I'll be happy. But shoots on sight, has all the stats and underlying figures to back it up. I do like Darwin. The only thing back in my mind is, does he start? But the likes of Jota out as well does make me think that possibly in Diaz, of course, there isn't many other options. Darwin would get it. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, press conference will be crucial, but expect him to be fit. He is an option to play up front. I quite like Darwin. Another choice is Jesus. I do want an Arsenal player against Forest. Forest kept 2 clean sheets, but that doesn't put me off at all. Jesus just looks quality. 8 million. Again, I could just go jump onto him. Chelsea away, I still think they could get something there. And Wolves away looks a good fixture. So 5 goals, 4 assists. Great XGI. Just been brilliant so far. There is the niggle that he's got a yellow card, but if he gets a yellow card and misses that Chelsea game, I don't think I'm going to be too upset. I'll just bring someone else in instead and bench him, but keep him for the Wolves game. So that is definitely an option. The other option with Arsenal, as opposed to going up front, I could just get a defender in. With Forest at home, I'm not expecting them to concede. And Tomiyasu, I could go White is slightly more expensive and obviously picked up an assist last week. Tomiyasu just doesn't seem to have a lot of attacking potential. That's my only issue with Tomiyasu. 0.02. He doesn't get forward, doesn't get shots, doesn't get many key passes. So he doesn't offer a lot. But for 4.4, I definitely think there's some clean sheets there for Tomiyasu. So I quite like him. He's an option to cover that Arsenal defence. Let's have a look at some other striking options then. Callum Wilson is definitely one that seems to be trending quite a lot. People like the idea of bringing him in. 7.3, he's a decent price point. Villa at home, Southampton away looks like good fixtures. Chelsea at home, I can still see Newcastle scoring in there. His underlying stats look pretty good. As we know with Wilson, the only problem is he going to stay fit? If he stays fit, he plays and he's on penalties. And he will get goal involvement. So I've got no question about that. It's just keeping him fit. 7.3, he looks in a good place at the moment. Villa at home, Southampton look like good fixtures. He's definitely an option to upgrade Solanke to Wilson. One that I'm seriously considering. I'm not sure about Villa at home. I just feel like Villa, have they turned a bit of a corner? Seemed really buoyant last week. Southampton are picking up results as well. Should that put me off? I'm not sure. I just have reservations about Wilson. One other striker that I'll talk to finally that I'm considering, and it's no one that's come out of the blue, but Tony has two good fixtures. Wolves at home, Villa away, 7.5. We know what Tony's all about. It's not a conversation we need to have a lot of discussion about. Plays every game, he's nailed, and he has penalties. Brentford will get reaction from the Villa game. Have to wait and see. But Wolves at home is a team that I quite like the look of targeting at the moment. So Tony could possibly be one I could bring in. And then the last game where he just plays Man City in game week 16, I'm just going to end up benching him for that. That's it for this one then. Let me know in the comments below, who are you bringing in for game week 14, or are you going to roll your transfer? Have I missed anyone on my watch list you think I should be considering? We'll be coming back at you with a team selection video before the deadline, so make sure you hit the like, don't forget to subscribe, and in the meantime, take care, speak to you soon.